I'm Dr. Stephen Davidson, the Sexual Integrity Coach. Welcome to another episode of Adult Sex Education. Professionally, I try to keep my political opinions to myself because I want to be respectful of everyone's right to their own beliefs and opinions, even when I personally disagree. However, I don't hide that I work from a scientific model and that I don't elevate any religious belief system above professional ethics. Therefore, you often hear me talk about the negative influences of religion and politics on sexual expression, because both have historically oppressed sexual freedom, sexual science, and sex education with proclamations and declarations issued by their chosen leaders who, ironically, sometimes turn out to be sexual predators as well. On his first day in office, Number 47 issued an executive order that claims to defend women from gender ideology extremism and restore biological truth to the federal government. This president claiming to defend women or restore truth is laughable all by itself. The organization known as Interact, Advocates for Intersex Youth, points out that this executive order neither defends women nor states any biological truth. Instead, it attempts to erase the existence of transgender and intersex people in order to further the administration's own ideological agenda, which is grounded not in science, but rather a regressive and discriminatory worldview. Interact goes on to say that in a vague and unenforceable bid to redefine gender with reference to binary sex, the executive order refers only to the categories of male and female, defined by the production of reproductive cells at conception. This bizarre formulation disrespects the complexity of gender by reducing it to the production of eggs and sperm. It denies the existence of intersex people, and it misunderstands embryonic development. You see, at fertilization, every embryo looks the same. Gonadal tissue doesn't develop into testes or ovaries until several weeks after conception. In other words, no embryo produces reproductive cells at conception. This administration claims to support biological realities, yet they clearly lack an understanding of the science behind sexual development. This declaration isn't based on anything scientific. It better qualifies as science fiction. Science, after all, isn't really their thing, and neither are facts. In the United States, 2 of every 100 infants are born with intersex traits. This declaration ignores the estimated 2% of the population that has innate variations in their sex characteristics. Intersex infants are generally assigned male or female at birth and are not considered a third sex. But sadly, some of these children are subjected to non-consensual and unnecessary surgical procedures to fit the religious demands to classify every child as binary male or female. Many grow up with a gender identity that doesn't align with their assigned sex at birth. This is the overlap among transgender and intersex people. This declaration is an endorsement of the barbaric physical and psychological sexual mutilation that we've been scientifically and ethically trying to overcome. The executive order may invalidate a cisgender intersex person's understanding of their own gender too. For example, a woman with complete androgen insensitivity may be assigned female at birth and identify as a woman all her life, even while having internal testes. Yet this order would define her sex by her gonads and the reproductive cells they produce. So there are glaring gaps in the current administration's conceptualization of sex and gender, because they're trying to appeal to a radical religious agenda instead of honoring biological facts. A person born with both ovarian and testicular tissue may produce both sperm and ova. Would the executive order grant them both male and female category membership? On the other hand, a person born without gonads or with gonadal tissue that doesn't develop into functioning testes or ovaries may be considered neither male nor female if these fabricated definitions are applied. If you're interested in hearing specifically from someone born intersex who can testify to their own childhood horrors, I recommend you read the memoir of Alicia Roth-Weigel titled inverse cowgirl. It's important to remember that this executive order will have little, if any, immediate practical effect, and its provisions will be subject to legal challenges which are already being prepared. The document is rather a declaration of intent to ignore science while supporting discrimination. All people, including transgender and intersex people, deserve to be respected for who they are. To disrespect one's basic rights to their unique sexual and biological realities is abuse, even when you're claiming to do it in the name of your chosen god or goddess. As a healthcare provider who respects science and humanity, this is both saddening and frustrating, but not surprising. We knew this was coming, and there are likely many more similar declarations in the weeks and months ahead. Across the country, political officials frequently override the expertise of the scientific community to cater to the delusions of their uninformed base. Throughout history, religion and politics have always tried to deny or eliminate the existence of those who don't fit neatly into their narrow worldview. Dictators have never successfully eliminated any demographic of people with their declarations and proclamations or even genocide. As much as I would like to keep my professional life separate from my personal political and religious opinions, I can't ethically sit by while a radical administration deceives you with lies that are disrespectful of sexual diversity and ultimately life-threatening. Declarations and proclamations have no influence on gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, or ultimately sexual behavior. Regardless of the political and religious absurdity that currently drives American policy, I will remind you that Mother Nature doesn't care about your religion or how you vote. Nature will beat religion and politics every time. So, in spite of these inconveniences, declare your own truth. Don't retreat to a closet of shame or fear to accommodate the lies of this administration or the bizarre religious fantasies of their delusional base. You know who you are, and ultimately, that's all that matters. I'm Dr. Stephen Davidson, the Sexual Integrity Coach. I hope you will like and share this video as well as subscribe to this channel. Please check out my website at sexualintegritycoach.com. There you'll get links to both of my books, both more relevant now than ever, Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life, the Guidebook to Happiness, as well as Sexual Integrity, Finding the Courage to Be Yourself.